Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulunding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
It's a warm welcome to our studio here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News with me, Jacqueline Koli. In the headlines tonight, Tourism Minister commences site visit to tourist attraction centers. Youth and Sport Minister lays Kafuta Mini Stadium foundation stone. 4H Community Development Association awards Panderi Ture Certificate of Appreciation. UNICEF commemorates World Children's Day with Kotu Senior Secondary School. On the international scene, is the US President rushing foreign policy decisions? Aid arrives in camps along Sudan's border. Deadly protests in Uganda after Bobby Wine arrested again. Those were the headlines and now the news in detail. The Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture on Thursday began a 7-day tour meant to assess the tourism attraction sites in the country as part of government's effort to promote regional tourism in the Gambia. Modo El Baji traveled with the tourism minister and this is his report.
Despite the COVID-19 pandemic has nailed down most economic activities, which includes tourism, the tourism minister is leaving no stone unturned in enhancing the country's tourism sector. The tourism minister, Ahmad Nkeba, set light on the importance of his site visits to this, noting that his ministry will transform North Bank to another tourism development area.
And we want to transform the North Bank to another tourism development area. As you're aware, the Kinte Kunta Island, we used to be James Island, is a UNESCO a heritage site which is preserved for posterity for people all over the world who have heard about the roots, Alex Haley, to come and visit. Therefore, in our efforts to promote domestic regional tourism, we believe that the North Bank is key in all the efforts that we want to invest in this field. Now, the infrastructural development that is ongoing here will certainly attract a lot of tourists and create a lot of jobs as we speak. And we are going to intensify our training program for the youths of this area so that all the facilities that are in this area, we will have to employ people who come from this region to work in this particular area. So we believe that we also have done some efforts to support some of these institutions, some of the hotels, some of the historic sites. There was a government intervention financially. We want to also see what they have done with those funds, what development they have done. And again, as you are aware, that the Kairaba Jawara hotel we laid the foundation stone around May last year. And we're here to see the development of the project, although we are made to understand they had some difficulties because of the heavy rain, and as a result of which they had a little bit of delayance. But we want to because it's public money, and that's why we said governors should be inspecting this project. This is people's money, and they should be coming down to see or send their officials to see how these projects are performing so that they can also give feedback to us. As a result of our interest as a government in promoting domestic and regional tourism, we have also posted managers in all the divisional offices with all the governors, and these officers will now be stationed permanently in the development and the promotion of tourism within the region. and we believe that it will pay dividends.
The minister's delegation then proceeded to assess the ongoing construction of the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara Resort in Bara. The tourism minister seized the opportunity to advise the governor not to sell lands but to be leasing them. Honorable Ba then continued to Fort Blen, where he urged Chief John Sonko of North Bank to help in collecting artifacts from the Sonko dynasty, which the minister said is important to the history of this country. The Berending Crocodile Pool was also visited by the tourism delegates, where the minister revealed plan of fencing the area. Reporting from North Bank, I am Modu Elbaji.
The Minister of Youth and Sport, Honorable Bakari Baji, on Friday laid the foundation stone for the multipurpose Kafuta Mini Stadium for construction. The project is worth $1.8 million and the construction will last for 6 months. Maya Madam has the rest of the story.
The project is fully government funded and it is in line with the government decentralization policy to ensure that young people in rural Gambia have access to modern sporting facilities to improve their participation both in local and international sporting competitions. The mini stadium is 20 by 20 meters and it will accommodate a football field, a basketball lounge, a conference hall, a tennis lounge, among others. The land was allocated to the youth by the community of Kafuta and it had been used as a football field over the past years. The project site is surrounded by 33 villages within Komba and youths from these communities will be benefiting from the project both in labor and ownership. The Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Y. Baji, says his ministry is committed to working with communities in rural Gambia to initiate and fund youth empowerment and sports projects.
Department entrusted with the principal responsibility of championing the holistic development of youth and sport sectors of this country. We are committed to work with communities in rural Gambia to initiate and fund youth empowerment and sport development projects. We believe with such initiatives, young people employability will increase, talents will be identified and developed, and sports will no longer just be for leisure, but business that has the potential to change lives of athletes, their families, and the socio-economic development of the local communities. Such grassroots development will be an indisputable indicator of how far we have progressed as a sporting nation in the coming years. Chairperson, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you all that the President of the Republic, His Excellency Adama Barrow, and the entire government remains committed to the issues of youth and will continue to make sports development a national priority by creating the enabling policy environment and development ventures that will advance this great country of ours.
Honorable Baji thanked President Barrow for endorsing the project, thus enabling them to bring such important development to the rural youth of the country and further urged the beneficiaries to take full ownership of the facility.
I would like to implore on youths, both male and female, of this region to take full ownership of this facility and ensure its upkeep and proper maintenance. As a Minister of Youth and Sports, my doors are open for any recommendation or idea that you have in advancing this project, but also for anything that has to do with general development and empowerment of young people. And I want to reiterate that for this project to be successful, local ownership must be taken. That as a government and as a ministry, our role, like the former speaker Marcel said, is to provide the environment, is to provide the facilities. The maintenance of it and how long it's going to serve the community, that will depend on how it is properly taken care of. And unless, as a country, as a people, we take some of these facilities seriously, we will keep on investing year in, year out, and it will always be the same thing, that they will get dilapidated after a few years.
The governor of West Coast Region, Alhaji Lamin Sane, describes the project as a milestone for the youths of the country, especially the people of Kombo South, as it will make the youths of the region realize their talents and potentials in sports.
I want to say it is with great pleasure and pride that I make this statement on this auspicious day, marking the laying of the first foundation stone of a mini stadium in Kafuta and Kombo East by extension. The laying of this foundation stone is a milestone in the annals of Gambia's history, especially with this new dispensation. Sports is an integral part of national development, without which no nation can never achieve her desire in realizing sustainable development goals. The importance of sports could not ever be overemphasized. The mini stadium, when completed, will no doubt be multifaceted. It will be used for football, track and field, basket and volleyball. Young people of the Gambia really want sport facilities in order for them to realize their potentials in sports and football in particular.
The Kafuta VDC chairman Malang Jata expressed delight over the project, noting that the Ministry of Youth and Sports did not make a mistake in deciding to construct a mini stadium in Kafuta because it serves as a prominent village in the history of Kombo in terms of sports. As he highlights the VDC's contribution towards the development of sports in Kafuta.
When we started this project, we found out that we will not get much funds to complete it as expected. Therefore, we collaborated with the Kafuta Youth Development Association to write to the Ministry of Youth and Sports so that they can transform this field into a mini stadium. Thank God that our prayers were answered. The ministry approved to give this historic mini stadium to Kafuta. We can assure you that the people of Kafuta and the people of Kombo East will make best use of this mini stadium. As it is already in records that the Kombo East football team has gone all out during the Gambia Football Federation's zonal tournament to win the zonal tournament in 2019. That's a clear manifestation that the people of Kafuta and the people of Kombo East love football, and we are champions.
Emmanuel Correa is the chairperson of Kafuta Sports Association, and he had this to say.
We thank the government for choosing Kafuta for this magnificent project. The importance of this mini stadium lies in the expected outcomes, and the benefits will be multidimensional. The stadium will support the development of youth and talents in sports in the district, in the region, and the country at large. The mini stadium will be a hub for Kombo East district football competitions, first, second, and third division Gambia Football Federation football games. It will reduce youth migration of sportsmen and women to the greater Banjul.
The ministry hopes that the mini stadium and other sporting facilities being constructed will contribute to the transformation of sports and capacity building of sports at the grassroots. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Mariama Dem.
Earlier today, the 4H Community Development Association in Nemakunku awarded Pandey Ture a certificate of appreciation due to the help he rendered during the heavily flooding that occurred in Nemakunku. Yamuda Okoka reports.
Modu Balde, the secretary of the 4H Community Development Association, spoke on behalf of the community. He said they were very grateful for the help that Pandey Ture offered them. He added that Pa was so generous in helping the people of Nema during the October 2020 flood. He added that it was because of Panderi that the general public was aware of what happened in Nema. He further that they were given bags of rice by many people. The party leader of GDC, Mama Kande, gave them 75 bags of rice, and the sports project gave them 8 bags of rice, 8 bags of sugar, and 8 bags of onion. Honorable Ablai Sise also gave them 150 bags of 50 kilograms rice. And he said it was all thanks to Pandey Ture because he disseminated the crisis that they faced in Nema during the flood. He continued to say that, left to the people of Nemakunku alone, the Gambia would not have heard their crisis, let alone come to their aid. Therefore, he thanked Pandey Ture on behalf of the youth for extending the flooding to the general public. Pandey Ture showed appreciation on the award given to him, and he also had this to say.
Very much. I really appreciate this certificate of appreciation from the 4H Community Development Association of Nema. For giving me this certificate, for being so generous in helping the people of Nema Kunku during the October 2020 flood. Of course, you know, when things happen, when nature opens up, we have to come and support. And that is the only thing that we have done. And it's only normal for us to do this. But one thing which is for sure uncertain, we will never waver in our quest to build a better country. And the great people of Nema, they deserve the best. So on this occasion, I'm using the opportunity once more to thank the people of Nema for the certificate of appreciation. Trust me, it's very close to my heart. I have got.
He concluded by saying that he had been certified on several occasions, but the award from Nema is really dear to him and he will continue the good work. For Star TV News, I am Yamun.
UNICEF had a dialogue with students of Kotu Senior Secondary School in commemoration of World Children's Day, which is celebrated every year on the 20th of November by putting children at the center to mark the adoption of Convention on the Rights of Children. I was there and this is my report.
This year's World Children's Day came at a time the world is grappling with a global pandemic that had deeply affected children and their families. It is estimated that 700,000 children in the Gambia were temporarily out of school for up to 6 months. Families have lost their livelihoods and the pandemic has driven many into poverty. Saliu Kante, a student of Kotu in class 10, stressed that the pandemic has really affected his life, especially his education. He said he is from a poor background and his parents could not afford to provide him a private teacher during the 6 months he stayed home like other privileged students who could afford a private teacher. Hadi Tambidu, also from class 10, expressed that when she sat the 2020 Gabasi and the results came out, she was not impressed with her performance. She blames the pandemic because they were not able to complete the syllabus due to the lockdown. During the dialogue, the students made demands that they need more sanitary equipment and to keep the environment hygiene, clean and safe for them in order to protect themselves from the coronavirus. Gordon Jonathan Lewis, UNICEF representative to the Gambia, stressed that they chose Kotu Senior Secondary School because it is located in the urban area, adding that the urban areas were mostly hard hit by the pandemic.
Well, we chose it because of the fact that it's an interesting mix in terms of a school that's in a relatively urban area. Urban areas during the COVID-19 pandemic have been particularly hard hit. And it's also an area where we find a lot of different dynamics going on. There's increase in levels of poverty, increase in levels of children on the move or child migration. So we thought it would be an interesting place to start this dialogue around the perceptions that children have on this day, World Children's Day.
Mr. Lewis stressed that the message they would like to convey is that the children are ready to contribute to the process of building back Gambia better after the COVID-19. He said during the lockdown, most children were deprived of many activities, most especially going to school. He noted that UNICEF will contribute in adding more hand-washing stations, face masks, and other precautionary equipment to help children against the virus.
So my message is, listen to their ideas, engage them in decision-making, solicit their perspectives on different issues that might be affecting their families. And the same thing goes to community leaders, to senior government officials. Always put the best interests of the child in anything that has to do with a decision, with a policy, or with a program. And we can guarantee you that when you do that, your economy is going to grow, your social fabric is going to be strengthened, and your country is going to be overall a better place for children. The Gambia is already doing a tremendous amount of positive things in this regard, but when we listen to the children...
Those were the local stories. We will be back with international news after the short break. Please stay tuned.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gosh, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gosh Group also provides the best security company company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding. Gash.
And now, news beyond our borders. The US President is making some of his final foreign policy decisions after leaving office. Donald Trump has made further cuts to US troops in Afghanistan and Iraq. Even Republican leaders say the move could risk security in the region. Media reports also say the Trump administration is considering tougher actions on Iran and Yemen's Houthi rebels. Which legacy will Trump leave for President-elect Biden? Calma Santa Maria presents the rest of the story.
Is the US president rushing foreign policy decisions before leaving office? Donald Trump's withdrawing troops from Afghanistan and Iraq and reportedly considering tougher action on Iran. So with only 2 months left, what legacy could he leave for Joe Biden? This is Inside Story. Hello, I'm Kamal Santamaria. Promising to bring a country's troops home is the kind of thing which, in the right circumstances, can help win an election. In 2020, Donald Trump's already lost the election and is now in a mad scramble to bring US forces back to the United States from Afghanistan and Iraq before he leaves office in just 2 months. Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller made the announcement on Tuesday after a lot of speculation in the media. The plan is to bring troop numbers down to 2,500 in both countries. That would be a reduction of 2,000 in Afghanistan, 500 in Iraq. And to do...
Aid is starting to arrive at refugee camps in Sudan along its borders with Ethiopia. Thousands of refugees have been crossing into the area over the past 2 weeks, fleeing the fighting in Tigray. Al Jazeera's Hiba Morgan reports from the eastern state of Gadaref, where many refugees have gone for days without food.
More than a week after the arrival of refugees to this camp in Gadaref, the first supply of food aid is starting to trickle in. Pulses, flour and oil is rationed out between the families who've come here. Hundreds line up to receive their share. Most, like Zamzam Aliyu, have left their children back in shelters and withstand scorching sun while they wait. They are desperate.
I'm glad that aid organizations have started distributing food. A lot of people were going hungry. Some of us had gone for 2 or 3 days without food. There was a whole day that my kids and I went without any food. But now with aid here, we can have meals.
It's been 10 days since I came here from my country, and in those 10 days we hadn't eaten proper meals. We are hungry and we have small children to feed. Now we are going to get some food aid, and we thank God for that because over the past 10 days we didn't receive anything. We hope they bring more because this will not be enough for the many families here.
Both Zamzam and Yaguz are two of the nearly 15,000 residents of the camp, which was opened less than 2 weeks ago. They come from the Tigray region in northern Ethiopia, where the government has launched an offensive. More than 30,000 have fled to neighboring Sudan since the start of the conflict, including to Kassala state. Aid organizations say thousands more in Tigray are facing a dire humanitarian situation, with the Ethiopian government imposing a communications blackout and blocking access to the region. Many refugees arriving at the Sudanese border are exhausted and hungry.
So far, most of the food for the refugees has come from local communities around the border points and refugee camps. But the communities themselves face economic hardships as Sudan battles soaring market prices, and the number of those crossing the border to escape the fighting in Tigray is rising. Many who said they've gone 4 days without food now have something to eat.
But the country the refugees are arriving to has its own set of problems, including a state of emergency. Floods in September damaged many roads, and that is now hindering aid delivery.
So the challenges still remain there, but what we're doing is that we have enough food in stocks in the country as WFP, and we've been able really to pull on food from other areas where we had surpluses to try to prepone food here. As we speak right now, we have about enough food for 60 to 70,000 people already here on site. And these are distributed, of course, between Kassala, of course, and Garade as well, where we are right now.
The refugees don't know how long they will remain in the camps. For now, they're just pleased to be safe and have food for their families. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Alpha Shega, Gadaref State.
Several people killed and dozens wounded in protests in Uganda following the arrest of presidential candidate Bobi Wine. His supporters blocked roads and burned tires in the capital Kampala, prompting police to fire tear gas and bullets. Wine says he has been repeatedly beaten and tortured. While police continue to crack down on his supporters, Wine has been in politics since 2017 when he won a seat in the National Assembly. The presidential hopeful has been arrested many times since. Analyst says he is gaining popularity among young people who are hoping he will bring change to the country ruled by President Museveni for 3.5 decades. Uganda has never witnessed a peaceful transfer of power since independence in 1962. Al Jazeera's Laura Borden-Mali reports.
Burning anger in Uganda's capital Kampala as word spread of the arrest of Bobi Wine, who these protesters want as president. That message was clear as they defaced images of longtime leader Yoweri Museveni. Security forces responded by firing tear gas and arresting dozens of demonstrators. But it's this moment that brought them onto the streets. About 100 kilometers away, the pop singer turned politician Bobi Wine was campaigning in Luka when he was arrested and bundled into a police van. Security forces cited repeated violations of COVID-19 restrictions. Following his arrest, Bobi Wine tweeted that resistance is a duty. Analysts say he's gaining popularity among young people who are hoping he will bring change to a country ruled by President Museveni for 3.5 decades. Museveni's party insists the president is still popular.
I think we have to look at the end of the day, the demographic shifts are not in favor of President Museveni, who has been in power for 35 years. Personally, I've never seen any other president. So it's very important to know that people are looking for a change.
Wine has been in politics since 2017, when he won a seat in the National Assembly. The presidential hopeful has been arrested many times since. This is what security forces did to his car after he submitted nomination papers to run for president. Wine says he's been repeatedly beaten and tortured while police continue to crack down on his supporters.
People have a right to demonstrate peacefully. Any excessive use of force by security forces anywhere is of concern to us. And it is important that there is a space provided for people to express themselves, whether in demonstration or through a democratic process.
Uganda has never witnessed a peaceful transfer of power since independence in 1962. With the presidential election set to take place in January, tensions are high, with Wine regarded as Museveni's strongest challenger during his decades in power. Laura Borden-Manley, Al Jazeera.
And before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. Tourism Minister commences site visit to tourist attraction centers. Youth and Sport Minister lays Kafuta Mini Stadium foundation stone. 4H Community Development Association awards Panderi Ture Certificate of Appreciation. UNICEF commemorates World Children's Day with Kotu Senior Secondary School. On the international scene, is the US President rushing foreign policy decisions? Aid arrives in camps along Sudan's border. Deadly protests in Uganda after Bobi Wine arrested again. That's all for this edition of the news. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Thanks for watching and bye for now.